Andreas Gryphius was a German lyric poet and dramatist. Asteroid 496 Gryphia is named in his honor. Life and career. Gryphius was born as Andreas Gryphius in Groß-Glogau, in Silesia, where his father was a clergyman. The family name was Gryph, Latinized, according to the prevailing fashion, as Gryphus. Left early an orphan and driven from his native town by the troubles of the 30 Years' War, he received his schooling in various places, but notably at Freistadt, where he enjoyed an excellent classical education. In 1634 he went to Danzig, where he met Professors Peter Kruger and Johann Mochinger at the Danzig Gymnasium, who introduced Gryphius to the new German language poetry. Kruger had for years close contacts to Martin Opitz, who became known as father of German poetry. Greatly influenced by Kruger, he is the only one Gryphius dedicated poems to. Gryphius wrote Latin language poetry as well as German poems and a number of sonetten. The same year that Gryphius arrived, the printer Andreas Hunnefeld published Martin Opitz's Buch von der deutschen Poeterie. The same publisher printed Opitz's translation Tetrastich des Pibraken Antigone. Among Gryphius's benefactors was the city's secretary Michael Borch, who wrote a German version of the Life of Jesus Christ. Borch's illustrated book is still at the Gdansk Library. Coming from war-riddled Silesia, taking refuge at the bigger international harbour in a Polish city, greatly stimulated Gryphius. In 1635 he published his second epos of Herodes Dei Vendicis Impetus a Herodes Intritus. He dedicated this to the city-state council. While still in Danzig he published the Parnassus Renovatus in praise of the eminent jurist Georg Schönborn. In 1636 he went to Fraustadt WSC Hohe, then to Schönborn, in order to become tutor of the sons of Georg Schönborn, a man of wide culture and considerable wealth, who, after filling various administrative posts and writing many erudite volumes on law, had been rewarded by the Emperor Ferdinand II with the title and office of Imperial Count Palatine. Schönborn, who recognized Gryphius's genius, crowned him Poeta Laureatus, gave him the diploma of Master of Philosophy, and bestowed on him a patent of nobility, though Gryphius never used the title. A month later, on the 23rd of December 1637, Schönborn died. In 1637 Gryphius published at Weg und Funk in Lesnau a poetry collection in German and some Latin, named Lysair Sonetten after the town. In 1632, he had witnessed the pillaging and burning of the Silesian town of Freistadt by Swedish troops, and immortalized the event in his poem Furige Freistadt. Also in 1637 he went to continue his studies at Leiden, where he remained for 6 years, both hearing and delivering lectures. Here he fell under the influence of the great Dutch dramatists, Peter Cornelius Unhooft and Joost van den Vondel, who largely determined the character of his later dramatic works. In 1635, with the Prague Frieden, the Habsburgs took control over in Silesia again and persecuted Protestants and closed their churches. In 1638 Paul Gryphius, the brother of Andreas, received a position as superintendent at Crossen and der Oder in Brandenburg from the Elector Georg Wilhelm of Brandenburg. Paul was for several years banned from Silesia for being a Protestant, and Andreas dedicated and sent him several poems from the start of his new position. After traveling in France, Italy and South Germany, Gryphius settled in 1647 at Fraustadt, where he began his dramatic work, and in 1650 was appointed Syndic of Glogau, a post he held until his death. A short time previously he had been admitted under the title of the Immortal into the Fruchtbringe and Gesellschaft, a literary society, founded in 1617 by Ludwig, Prince of Anhalt-Köthen on the model of the Italian academies. Gryphius grew up during the 30 Years' War and witnessed the destruction of large parts of Germany, which had lasting effects for centuries. Not yet an adult himself, he saw the child of a benefactor to die, and prepared another for his approaching death. It is therefore not surprising that some morbid disposition, and his melancholy temperament, fostered by the misfortunes of his childhood, is largely reflected in his lyrics, of which the most famous are the Kirchhofsgedanken. His best works are his comedies, one of which, Absurde Komiker oder Herr Petersquenz, is evidently based on the comic episode of Pyramus and Thisbe in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Die Gelierte Dawnrose, written in a Silesian dialect, contains many touches of natural simplicity and grace, and ranks high among the comparatively small number of German dramas of the 17th century. Horribilicre Brifax, founded on the Miles Gloriosus of Plautus, is a rather labored attack on pedantry. Besides these three comedies, Gryphius wrote 5 tragedies. In all of them the tendency is to become wild and bombastic, but he had the merit of at least attempting to work out artistically conceived plans, and there are occasional flashes both of passion and of imagination. His models seem to have been Seneca and Vondel. In Carolus Stewardess he dramatized events of his own day, namely the death of King Charles I of England. His other tragedies are Leo Arminius, Katharina van Georgine, Cardenio Unselland and Papinianus. No German dramatic writer before him had risen to so high a level, nor had he worthy successes until about the middle of the 18th century. Works: drama Cardenio Unselland, tragedy; Leo Arminius, historical tragedy; Carolus Stewardess, historical tragedy; Katharina van Georgine, historical tragedy; Absurde Komiker oder Herr Petersquenz, comedy; Papinianus, historical tragedy; The Beloved Rose with a Thorn, comedy; Horribilicre Brifax, comedy.